Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted wilderness. The path ahead is shrouded in fog, the ground uneven beneath your feet, and the destination nowhere in sight. You can't see what's coming, and every step feels like a leap into the unknown. Your heart pounds with uncertainty. What if you stumble? What if you get lost? What if this journey was a mistake? But then something inside you stirs a quiet voice, a deep conviction, that says, keep moving. You don't have a map or a guarantee. All you have is faith. Faith that this path, no matter how unclear, is the one meant for you. Faith that every step forward, even in darkness, is leading you closer to the purpose you were created for. Walking by faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about stepping forward when answers aren't available. It's about trusting in what you cannot see, believing in what you cannot prove, and holding on when the world around you doubts. It's the courage to keep going when the odds are stacked against you. Today, I want to talk about that journey walking by faith, and why it is the most powerful force that can carry you through life's uncertainties toward the destiny waiting for you. Faith begins where sight ends. To understand that, you have to step outside of logic for a moment. We live in a world that rewards what can be proven, measured, and predicted. We're taught to trust what we see, what we can touch, what we can explain. If it's not in front of us, if it can't be proven, then we're told it's not real. But faith operates on a completely different frequency. Faith steps in right at the moment when the facts run out. It moves when your eyes say, there's nothing there, and your spirit replies, move anyway. This doesn't mean faith is blind. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about believing in something deeper than what's immediately visible. Sight shows you your current position. Faith shows you your destiny. Sight can only confirm what's already built. Faith starts building before the materials show up. It's looking at an empty field and planting a seed anyway, because you believe in the harvest even when the ground looks barren. When you walk by faith, you're not always going to have a map. Sometimes all you'll have is a whisper, a pull, an unshakable sense that something greater is calling you forward. And that sense won't always be loud. It might come in moments of stillness, in the middle of your doubt, right when you're about to give up. It's quiet, but it's powerful. Faith speaks when the world is silent. It confirms what your logic tries to dismiss. Think about the moments in life where you had to make a decision with no guarantees. You had no backup plan, no applause, no confirmation, just a dream, a fire inside, and a pull that wouldn't let you sit still. That's faith. It shows up when the facts say, no way, and you choose to believe anyway. It's not reckless. It's rooted. It doesn't ignore reality. It leans into purpose, into promise, into something eternal. Faith asks you to walk when you don't see the bridge. It asks you to step when you don't know where your foot will land. It asks you to trust when every part of you wants to retreat. That's why it's not for the faint-hearted. It requires courage. It requires obedience, and most of all, it requires surrender. You have to be willing to let go of your need to control, your need to know, your need to see the whole staircase before you take the first step. And here's the part most people don't talk about. Faith will make you look crazy before it makes you look wise. People will question your decisions, they'll think you're chasing shadows, they'll ask why you're risking so much on something that isn't guaranteed. And you won't always have the words to explain it, because faith doesn't live in explanations, it lives in action. You'll know it's real because you'll feel it in your gut, and you won't be able to shake it. That's the call. That's the walk. And you won't always have cheerleaders around you. But if you keep going, eventually those same people who doubted you will start asking how you did it. That's the irony. Faith looks foolish to the world right up until it bears fruit. Then suddenly it looks like genius. But those who have walked by faith know it was never about being smart. It was about being sure, sure of who you are, sure of what was spoken to your heart, sure of the promise even when the proof hadn't shown up yet. That's the real strength of faith, not that it sees the outcome, but that it moves anyway. Because at the end of the day, what you see with your eyes is temporary. Circumstances change, opportunities shift, people come and go, but what you believe, what you know deep in your soul, that's the thing that will carry you when everything else fades. That's the thing that will lift you when sight tells you to sit still. And if you ever find yourself standing at the edge, unsure of what's next, just remember, you weren't created to live by sight. You were created to walk by faith. Purpose over popularity is a mindset that separates the driven from the distracted. It's one thing to follow a dream, but it's another thing entirely to stay committed to your purpose when the world is offering you applause for something easier, something shinier, something faster. Walking by faith often means choosing the path that doesn't come with instant validation. It means turning down noise and comfort for something quieter, something deeper, something only you and your Creator fully understand. Popularity is loud. It feeds on attention. It thrives on the moment. It wants the crowd. It wants the likes, the recognition, the applause. It wants you to play the role, to perform, to give the world what it wants to see, even if it costs you who you really are. And the danger is, it's tempting. It feels good to be seen, to be accepted, to be celebrated. But popularity is often temporary. It's based on trends, opinions, and the ever-changing mood of the crowd. One day they're with you, the next day they've moved on to someone else. If you live for their approval, you'll die from their rejection. Purpose is different. Purpose is rooted. It doesn't need the spotlight to be real. It doesn't ask for permission to exist. Purpose is that quiet conviction that wakes you up in the morning even when you're tired. It's the reason you keep going after the applause fades. It's the thing that keeps you grounded when popularity tries to pull you off course. Purpose is not about being known. It's about being fulfilled, and fulfillment doesn't come from the outside. It comes from walking in alignment with what you were created to do. There will be times when your purpose requires you to be misunderstood. People may question your decisions. They may not understand why you passed on a quick opportunity, or why you're taking the long road instead of the easy one. That's because they're looking through the lens of popularity, but purpose answers to a higher standard. It asks, is this who I'm called to be? Not, will they like me for this? It challenges you to be loyal to your assignment, even when that assignment doesn't bring you immediate recognition. And here's the truth. Purpose will cost you. It might cost you relationships, because not everyone can go where you're going. It might cost you opportunities, because not every door that opens is meant to be walked through. It might even cost you moments of comfort, because growth is never found in what's easy. But what you gain in return is clarity. You wake up knowing you're doing what you were designed for. You move with intention. You speak with conviction. You work not to be seen, but because you believe in the impact of what you're doing. The pull of popularity is especially strong when you're in the middle of your journey, when results are slow, when the vision hasn't fully manifested. That's when the crowd shows up offering shortcuts. But shortcuts can't take you to purpose. They only take you to imitation. They'll get you to a version of success, but it won't last because it's not built on truth. Purpose takes longer because it builds depth. It's building character. It's developing discipline. It's teaching you to be strong in silence, faithful in obscurity, and unshaken in adversity. Walking by faith and choosing purpose over popularity means trusting that your journey, as slow or as hidden as it may feel, is exactly what's necessary to prepare you for what's coming. You don't need the world to celebrate you to know you're on the right path. You just need to be obedient to the call on your life. Because the world may not always understand your steps, but if you keep walking in purpose, your results will speak for themselves. The world will try to offer you popularity like it's the prize, but faith teaches you to turn down the noise. Because the real reward isn't in being seen, it's in being used for something greater than yourself. That's the difference. Popularity fades, purpose fulfills, and faith knows the difference. Discipline is a form of faith, and not many people see it that way at first. When we think about discipline, we usually think about routines, hard work, consistency doing what needs to be done whether we feel like it or not. But the deeper truth is that discipline is not just about work, it's about belief. Every time you stay consistent in something that hasn't yet produced results, you are demonstrating faith. You are declaring, through your actions, that something is coming even when nothing has shown up yet. That's why real discipline is hard. It asks you to act like it's already working, even when everything in front of you tells you otherwise. When you wake up early to train, to pray, to write, to study, to build whatever your assignment is, you're saying, I believe in the outcome, even if I haven't seen it yet. That belief, that trust in the unseen, is faith in action. It's not loud or emotional. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It's daily. Discipline is the silent rhythm of the faithful. People often confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation is emotional. It rises and falls based on your mood or the circumstances. Motivation is there when things are exciting, when the goal feels close, when success feels inevitable. But discipline shows up when motivation goes missing. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It just keeps showing up because it's not rooted in emotion. It's rooted in commitment. And commitment is what faith is all about. It's what keeps you moving when you've got no applause, no audience, and no confirmation. Just a deep sense that you're supposed to keep going. It's easy to be faithful when the results are immediate. But what about when you've been working for months or years and you still don't see progress? That's the test of discipline. Can you still show up when it looks like nothing is happening? Because here's the truth, something is always happening, even when you can't see it. Every time you choose to stay consistent, you are building something beneath the surface. Just like a seed planted in the soil, growth begins in the dark. It happens where no one is watching. It breaks through only after a long period of silence. That's what discipline honors. It honors the process. It doesn't rush the reward. It doesn't need constant validation. It doesn't crave attention. Discipline is about obedience to the process, trusting that every rep, every step, every page, every moment of consistency is part of something bigger that's being shaped, something you can't yet see, but something that's absolutely real, and that kind of trust, that's faith, pure and simple. Most people give up not because they lacked talent or vision, but because they lacked the discipline to keep going when it got boring, when it got hard, when no one else was clapping. But faith says, keep going anyway. Discipline says, do it again tomorrow. And those two voices together. That's how greatness is born. It's not about explosive moments of inspiration. It's about small, repeated steps taken in belief, day after day, week after week, year after year. When you're disciplined, you start to develop a kind of quiet power. You're no longer swayed by temporary emotions or outside opinions. You become anchored. You become solid. You don't need to chase opportunities because your consistency starts attracting them. The world starts to notice people who don't give up. The world watches the ones who are still standing after the hype has faded. And the reason they're still standing is because they built on faith, not on excitement. So when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when the finish line feels far away, remember that every disciplined act is a brick in the foundation of your faith. Every moment you choose to stay committed, even without reward, is a declaration that you believe in what's coming. You believe in what's possible. You believe that the time and energy you're giving to your calling is not being wasted. That's faith, and discipline is how you prove it, one day at a time. Storms are part of the journey. That's a truth many try to avoid, but one that walking by faith forces you to accept. No matter how gifted, how prepared, how focused you are, storms will come. Setbacks will come. Delays, disappointments, betrayals, and losses, they are all part of the path. Faith isn't about avoiding the storm. Faith is about standing in it. It's about continuing to move when the winds are against you and the skies are dark. That's when real belief is tested, not when everything is going well, but when everything around you seems to be falling apart. There's a reason storms are part of every meaningful journey. They reveal things comfort never will. When everything's easy, you can fake strength. You can cruise on charm, talent, or surface-level belief. But a storm strips away the outer layers. It exposes what you're really made of. It shows you whether your foundation is solid or shaky. And most of all, it forces you to decide what you truly believe. Do you still trust the vision when the evidence has disappeared? Do you still speak life when nothing around you looks alive? Do you still press forward when your plans fall apart? People often see storms as punishments or signs that they're on the wrong path. But more often than not, storms are proof that you're getting closer to something meaningful. Growth doesn't come from the smooth roads. It comes when your patience is stretched, when your ego is challenged, when your strength is tested. That's when character is built. That's when your faith muscles grow. A storm doesn't just come to break you. Sometimes it comes to strengthen you, to push you deeper into your purpose, to separate what's temporary from what's eternal. And storms don't just reveal your faith. They also reveal your focus. It's easy to praise when the sun is shining. But when the storm hits, your mind wants to scatter. Fear starts shouting louder. Doubt creeps in. You start to question everything. Your choices, your timing, your calling. In that moment, you have to fight to remember what you heard before the storm began, because faith doesn't come from what you see around you. It comes from what you know deep inside. You hold on to that word, that promise, that conviction that kept you going in the first place. That's where your power is, in the ability to remember in the storm what was clear in the calm. There are moments when the storm doesn't pass quickly. Some storms stay longer than you expect. They mess with your schedule. They drain your strength. They make you wonder if you missed something along the way. But staying in faith doesn't mean pretending you're not affected. It means standing anyway. It means showing up even with tears in your eyes. It means praying even when you're frustrated. It means walking forward even if you're limping. That kind of faith isn't glamorous. It's raw, it's real. And it's the kind of faith that produces lasting change. And when you come through the storm, and you will, you won't come out the same. You'll come out wiser, stronger, more grounded, more compassionate, more focused on what matters, because storms have a way of burning off distractions. They teach you who's really with you, what really matters, and how much you're capable of enduring. And that knowledge stays with you. It shapes the way you lead, the way you love, the way you serve. You're not just stronger because you survived, you're wiser because you learned. That's what walking by faith produces. Not just survival, but transformation. People may only see your strength, but they won't see the nights you cried, the days you doubted, the hours you questioned whether it was worth it. But that's okay, because the storm wasn't for them. It was for you, to refine you, to remind you, to prepare you. Every person who's ever walked in real purpose has had to go through something. And the ones who kept going, the ones who didn't quit, discovered that what they gained from the storm was greater than what the storm tried to take. So don't fear the storm, don't curse it. Let it do its work, let it grow you, shape you, prepare you. Because when it passes and the sun comes back out, you'll know in your heart that your faith was real. Not because it kept the storm away, but because it carried you through it. Your calling is louder than your doubt. That's something you have to learn not just once, but over and over again as you walk by faith. Doubt doesn't need a reason to show up. It comes uninvited, sometimes loud, sometimes subtle, but always trying to pull your focus off what you were created to do. It whispers in your ear right before you make a move, questions your worth right when you're gaining momentum, and throws shadows over your purpose when you finally start believing in yourself. But no matter how persistent doubt is, your calling, if you truly listen, is always louder. A calling doesn't scream. It doesn't demand the spotlight. It often begins as a quiet knowing, a deep pull in your spirit, a weight you can't explain but can't ignore either. It's not about hype or applause. It's about alignment. You feel it when you're doing something that wakes something up inside you. You know it when you're operating in your zone, even if the world isn't clapping. That's your calling. And when it's real, it keeps calling you, even through the noise of fear and uncertainty. Doubt tries to convince you that you're not ready, not worthy, not capable. It uses your past, your failures, your insecurities as evidence. It shows you all the ways things could go wrong. It magnifies every flaw, every delay, every obstacle. But what doubt doesn't understand is that your calling wasn't based on perfection. It was based on purpose. You weren't chosen because you had it all figured out. You were chosen because you had something the world needed even if you didn't see it yet. And that's why faith is so essential. It helps you believe in the voice of your calling over the voice of your doubt. There are moments when the doubt gets loud, so loud it almost drowns everything else out. Maybe it's right after you fail at something you thought you were good at. Maybe it's when people close to you start questioning your path. Maybe it's when you compare yourself to others and feel like you're falling behind. In those moments, doubt feels like truth. But that's when you have to return to what you know, not just what you feel. You have to go back to what was spoken to your heart, the thing you knew before the fear crept in, the moment of clarity that started this journey in the first place. The reason doubt can't win is because your calling has roots. It goes deeper than your emotions. It's tied to your identity, to your design, to the unique way you're wired. You can run from it, but it will chase you. You can try to silence it, but it will keep finding ways